Closer than close, yeah. Original, they never will be. Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall. And I've returned today to whap and tap on your head with not an ADH wealth solution, but another episode of Friday Night Financials. So today, I actually want to share with you guys something that's poignant from a little bit of the webinar that I did not hold 2 days ago for business owners, because I had the webinar today in honor of Black History Month. And I had a CPA and an attorney come on to our webinar and speak about some of those things. So what I'm going to talk about today, it's going to be very brief. I'm trying to keep these to, maximum of a half an hour if I don't have a guest, unless you guys want to come up and, ask questions and things like that. But for today, I want to go over, because it is tax season. Now, tax season for businesses is damn near all year, because you can kind of delay and push off your taxes until October following season. Ironically enough, that October, November, that August through October section of time seems to be when a lot of the rappers die. What's going on, Kay? Ironically enough, what I'm talking about today is going to be very closely tied to what you actually just spoke about. So everybody who's at the sound of my voice, normally I charge $1 million, but for the low price of $999,999.99, you can buy my course to open up an LLC, then open up another LLC, that opens an LLC, that gets $1 million in business credit, buys a monkey, and then buys NASA. No, I'm just kidding. Realistically, what I'm going to be talking about today is a few different tax write-offs that are available to businesses and business owners. Now, before I do get into that, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy my content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth, or to he says, where's your white woman in a boat? Or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links will be in the description of this video. I don't have the boat yet, but I got some. Where the white women at? I got some white women on my team, actually. That was a good one. Rogish, you know what? Since you came up with that joke, I won't charge you $1 million or even $999,999.99. For you, you'll get the low price of $999,999.98. Boom. So I'm going to share with you guys very briefly something that the CPA shared with us as a free gift to everyone who showed up at the webinar today. But before I go into that, I do want to touch a little bit further on something that Kay was addressing. And what he was addressing was something that, as professionals and business people on social media, we have to deal with all the time. And it does get very frustrating. Number one, because we are not offering a too good to be true premise or what have you, people tend to question our experience, our expertise, our credentials. If I were to come out and say, listen, the yield curve is inverted, and you can invest in IPA and QQQ and FYZ and da-da-da and the SPX, everybody would be like, I'm all in. But because I'm like, hold on, first of all, the word investment probably shouldn't be in your lexicon unless you're coming with, and this is a pants drop, $10,000, Because if you actually go to Fidelity, Vanguard, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, or any of these other trading robo-advisor platforms, they will give you a robo-advisor, which means that they're giving you no financial direction or no financial assistance or guidance. So literally you're gambling, picking at straws, picking these investments. Well, I've got news for you. The minimum investment is $10,000, which is $834 a month. And that's with an advisor who's dropping their pants. However, if you don't have any guidance or know-how on this stuff, the guys who do this for a living, and by the way, I did cut my teeth on Wall Street, but the guys who do this for a living, the money managers, they get it wrong 75% of the time. And their job is to actually study this stuff all day, every day. It's very difficult for you as a normal person to take care of your responsibilities, whether that be wife, kids, husband, kids, house, pets. Plus, you've got a job. And then you're supposed to watch the market all day? And then, do you even know what you're looking for? The inverted yield curve literally just means there's a difference between short-term loan interest and long-term loan interest. Right? Right now, long-term loans and short-term loans, interest rates are inverted. Used to be that a long-term loan would have a lower interest rate, and right now, short-term loans have a higher interest rate. Okay? That's all. That's it. Do you know what the 52-week moving average is? Does the guy who's telling you, invest in this, buy my course on how to invest, know what a 52-week moving average is? That is the performance of a particular security stock over the course of 52 weeks or 1 year. That is how you can gauge how it moves. Do you know your exit strategy? I hear a bunch of people, oh, I trade Forex, I trade commodities, I trade options. No, you don't. The reason you don't is because you don't do it at the scale that's necessary for it to actually make a difference. Literally, if you are dealing in less than hundreds of thousands of dollars on these trades on a daily basis, you're really not doing anything. Now, I'm not diminishing what you're doing, because if you're making, $1,500 a day, hey, by all means, that's something for you. But when you come to a professional like myself or guys on Wall Street, they're not dealing with that. Right? Young investor. This is not financial advice, but most advisors make investment decisions for their clients from a family of mutual funds or ETFs. Very true. Very, very, very true. So again, and what's up, young investor, man? You out there making moves in these streets, man. I gotta hurry up and scoop you up before you end up being a money manager, man. I need you on my team. So realize that a lot of these, investing or investment, says institutions do have an options trading team too, though, but they only work with high net worth clients. Yeah. Well, for example, if you go to Fidelity, you can open a Fidelity account with $0 or a Vanguard account with $0. You can open a Fidelity account with $3,500. I actually had an argument with a lady on Facebook about this. And I was like, listen, if it's not $10,000 or more, which again, $10,000 is the drop of your pants. That means you're literally like, look, here, you can see my everything. I just want to get your business, right? Most of the time it's 25K. And when you go to certain places, usually, like if you go to Chase Bank and you don't have a verifiable $500,000 in their bank account, they'll just let you talk with the regular teller. They're not going to let you, they might let you talk to somebody who has a little cubicle, but they're not going to bring you in the back office with private client. Private client, they actually usher you in. They bring you in. You don't have to deal with none of the riffraff, none of the people at the ATM machine. They literally walk you in the back. and say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, come on. And then they sell you insurance and investments based on the fact that you've got a lot of money with them. But generally, it's going to be $500,000 or better. When you talk into financial advisors, well, there's a reason that you can't become a client of the guy at Edward Jones, Raymond James, Charles Schwab, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, just to name a few that most people are familiar with. Well, why is that? Because financial advisors generally get paid off of AUM, assets under management. So if they have this AUM and you don't have enough net worth for them to charge you now, because of so many robo advisors, they've actually cut their commission from, or their percentage from 2% to usually like 1%. But it varies. If you're a net worth of less than 5 million, they're generally going to charge you 2%. If you're 5 million to 10 million, they'll charge you 1%. If you're 10 million to 100 million, they'll charge you 0.8%. If you're over 100 million, they might just charge you 0.2%, right? But think about it. What did Jay-Z say in his song a while ago? Dudes was clowning him for only being a 1% stake owner of the Brooklyn Nets at the time before he sold it. And then he said, but 1% of $1 billion is more than niggas ever seen. Do you know how much 1% of 1 billion? That happens to be $10 million. How many of us right now have access to $10 million that we can actually liquidate within 72 hours? None of us. Now, we might have access to $10 million, but not that we can liquidate within 72 hours. Meaning within 3 days, the financial institution will wire your bank account $10 million. Right? So I'm sorry to go off on a rant. I'm going to be short today. But I really wanted to share this with you, and I did want to speak on that. One more thing I actually want to speak on is self-employment and business ownership. More advisors are shifting towards fee-only or one-time fees for one comprehensive financial plan. Usually this is the case for the DIY investors. Bro, you know what's funny, young investor? I am drastically undercharging for my one-time consults. I only charge $300. I went to AdvicePay and I had a consult because I was going to buy their platform so I could start, sending bills. And they were like, yeah, so, what do you tell us about your process? Let me guess, you're having trouble because you're having the guy come down to your office, sit for an hour, and then you send him a bill for $2,500 and he never comes. And I was like, $2,500? Are you serious? No, I'm not charging nearly that much, right? The average financial advisor fee for a one-time sit is between $2,500 and $5,000. Most advisors will tell you, to be honest, he said you got to raise your price, bro. I know. I do have to raise my price, but I'm trying to reach a demographic who can't quite yet afford it, right? And the reason is I have a bit of a bleeding heart. But, I am almost taking, and I don't want to sound negative when I say this because I don't like the company itself, but I'm trying to take a little bit of the Primerica approach and bring Wall Street to Main Street. Because there are so many Americans that just don't get the the proper care. That's two people say. If I get a third person telling me to raise my price, I'm gonna raise my price. But realistically, I know I should raise my price. But I want to keep it. I want to keep it open because the way I look at it, I'd rather you spend that $2,500 on a product than on a fee. See, I am a fee and commission-based advisor. So I get paid a commission when you place business with me, and I also charge a fee. Now, I do have the option of waiving the fee. You know, and I try to, you know, waive the fee, you know, at certain periods when I find that, like, if I have a client who can't afford a product, I'll say, okay, I'll waive the fee so you can afford the product, because I'd rather you get the protection or the investment, as opposed to just paying me a fee, right? Because I'll still get paid if you get your product. But back to self-employeds and business owners. So self-employeds are not business owners. Okay. Self-employeds means literally that you work for yourself. However, you do still have a boss. And this is one of the major issues with a lot of people, especially in the African American community, who don't seem to understand that they have a boss. Guess who your boss is? Because everyone has someone to answer to. Your boss is your client. Now, that does not mean that your client can dictate to you, hey, that means that your client is going to set expectations, and that you are also going to set expectations for what you deliver to your client. So, I've been running my mouth for about 15 minutes, and I still haven't gotten into the tax saving stuff. But everybody, if you are prepared for the tax saving stuff, let me get some interaction. Let me get a 1 in the chat if you guys are ready for these tax saving strategies for self-employeds and business owners. And while you're at it, I'm going to go grab some water so I can see these ones pop up. All right. So nobody wants to see any tax saving strategies? Or you know what? It might just be my chat because everything is coming in slow. So everybody, again, put a 1 in the chat if you guys are ready for these tax saving strategies. These tax write-offs, I should say. Well, now we got nobody in the box. I just see it down to 0. No problem. Well, anybody who watches on the replay, make sure you watch for this section. And before I continue, ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share. So, as you guys can see here, thank you, young investor. As you guys can see here, we've got a free guide. 75 plus tax write-offs for business owners. Okay? So, most frequently asked question. And this is from an actual accountant. Can I write that off? Now, this is a very, very commonly asked question by many people, right? One of the big things I always hear, and again, this goes into things like LLC Twitter, can I write off my clothes? Right? Like for people such as myself who wear business attire, right? So I wear suit and tie, fancy cufflinks, all that good stuff. So you would think, well, you know, I wear this stuff for work, so I should be able to write it off. Wrong. Because unless it's something that I'm only wearing for work, and that would have to be like a uniform that says, you know, ADH Wealth Solutions or CG Wealth Solutions or State Farm Insurance or Allstate Insurance or Farmers Insurance or, you know, Fidelity Investments or Morgan Stanley Investments, then it's something that I can wear to the nightclub as well. Now, there you can write a percentage of those clothings off, but you're not able to write it all off. So let's look at some of the things they have here. So when it comes to tax deductions for business owners, the best way to ensure that an expense can be written off as a tax deduction is to ask your tax accountant who is familiar with your unique business. For an expense to be deductible, it must be both ordinary and necessary for your business. So again, like I said, you cannot just go willy-nilly writing off Ferragamo belts and Hermes ties. I'm going to be buying some Hermes clothes shortly. I know Young Investor is already doing that. He's out on the golf course, boy. I see you out on them golf courses, boy. I know you in Hermes. He don't even wear labels no more. He wears bespoke. Right? So you want to make sure that they are familiar with your unique business. Says, would Quaj the abstract, salute. Thanks for coming through. Hopefully you hit that like and subscribe, and don't be a stranger. He says, would jumpsuits, boots, cargos, etc. be written off if you're a blue-collar business owner? So again, this is not tax advice, but most likely not unless they are specific or necessary for your job. So prime example, if you are a mechanic and you own a mechanic shop and it says Mike's Mechanic Shop on the uniform, then you may be in a position where that is completely write-offable. But if it's just a regular jumpsuit, like a Dickie suit, that, again, you could wear to, the nightclub, etc., then no, it would not be able to be written off in that manner. And thank you for the subscription. But per the IRS, an ordinary expense is one that is common and accepted in your industry. A necessary expense is one that is helpful and appropriate for your trade or business. An expense does not have to be indispensable to be considered necessary. So, Quaj, I don't know if that kind of answers your question a little more, but according to this accountant, it doesn't have to be something absolute. But again, I would definitely check with my tax advisor on that, because for the most part, the IRS is going to see, hey, listen, if you can wear this to church, if you can wear this to the nightclub, if you can wear this to your best friend's house or to the grocery store, then it's not a necessary expense. Like, again, if you have a jumpsuit that says Mike's Garage, it's advertisement for Mike's Garage, and you specifically wear that to work at Mike's Garage, right? You wouldn't really take that and then wear it, to the nightclub. With that being said, the accountant here, I've compiled a list of 75 plus expenses that could be deductible for you to run by your tax accountant. So one is office expenses. It does. So goggles, tools, safety equipment can if the clothes aren't. Right. So we're actually going to be going through that right now. And again, these are could, because if you'll see here, for reference only, consult your accountant. We're not saying absolutely that you can, because we don't know the total ins and outs of your business. But for the most part, a lot of these are likely going to be able to be written off depending on the nature of your business. So let's start with office. You can generally write off things like office furniture. Now, generally in those situations, you'll want to know if they are things like depreciable assets or not. Again, that's something you want to ask your tax advisor about. Utilities, right? Again, if you have to have these utilities like internet and lights, etc., to run your business, you may be able to write some of that off. Rent expenses. Again, some of these are home office, but a lot of these are office. Cleaning services, telecommunications, moving expenses, building maintenance and repair. So, for example, if you have a brick and mortar location, and actually Kay was talking about this earlier. So we'll use, what's his name? Tariq Nasheed with a brick and mortar business, right? So he has a brick and mortar business with which he may have what's called a triple net lease, right? So a triple net lease means you, the business owner, are responsible for insurance on the building, maintenance. If a pipe busts, it's your problem, not the landlord, so on and so forth. So you may be able to write off building maintenance and repairs in those situations. So staff, payroll expenses, medical insurances, training expenses, year bonuses, and uniforms. So again, this is from the business owner's perspective. So prime example, I have a relative who owns a barbershop. One of the things that he has is smocks for all of his barbers. He generally and towels, because he does the hot towels for your beard and everything. Well, in those circumstances, he obviously has to pay for the cleaning service, but that's necessary in his business because you have to be sanitary, right? You can't go put a towel that was on this dude's face on that dude's face, right? That's just bad for business. So it's necessary that he does that cleaning. So if he gets with the right tax person, they should be consulting him on this, and he may be able to write off the fact that he's got to pay for those basically uniforms and those other items. So in vehicle, highway tolls, again, depreciation, maintenance and fuel, and mileage. Now, this must be for business use. Now, one thing I do know, can this apply to independent contractors? Yeah, so most of this stuff is going to apply to, if you're an LLC, you're the same as an independent contractor, right? That's why we were talking earlier about not having buying an LLC and getting $1 million in business credit when you haven't transacted a sale or things of that nature. And Quaj, thanks for the interactivity. I appreciate it. And yeah, CK here said true, right? So now let's look at contractors. This is what we were just talking about, right? So contract labor, sales commissions, professional services, consulting fees, accounting services, and tax preparations, realtor commissions, and web designers. So if you are a contractor and you have to pay to consult with someone, for example, you consult with me, a financial advisor, you may be able to write off the fees that you've paid to me. Again, this is on the business end. I may adjust my pricing for businesses because there's a lot more work that goes into it. I definitely know most business owners are well in the range of affording, at least $1,000. But if you get a web designer, some of these things are able to be written off because some of these things, especially, your tax preparation. So if you've gotten your taxes prepared the following year, just if you go to H&R Block and you pay $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 for them to do your taxes, if you're a 1099, that is actually something that you can write off the following year, not a 1099, a 1040. If you are a 1099, self-employed, that's definitely something that you can have written off, is your tax preparation fees. So let's take a look here. Some miscellaneous things. Amortization, depreciation, interest expense, certain taxes, business licenses. I know I write off all of my business licenses. And what do I mean by that? So every insurance license that I get in every state is a write-off. Every securities license or registration that I do in every state is a write-off. Prime example, because these are the costs of me doing business. So, for example, when I don't know what I did with the book, it's in my other room. Where is it? So when I paid $1,000 for a set of 5 books to then pay another $1,000 to take an exam to get an additional professional designation that adds more credentials to my name, that's CRC, Certified Retirement Counselor, well, that's actually something that's deductible in the course of business because it's basically continuing education, which is something that if I want to keep conducting my business by federal and state law, I have to undergo continuing education. So because I have to do that, and because I have to pay for it, it's something that is a possible write-off. So meals and entertainment. So you have to be very, 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 very detailed when you're doing meals and entertainment. So this is definitely for 1099 contractors, specifically in the sales arena. But if you're a business owner of any sort, you have to be a salesperson. So when you are schmoozing that big, $10,000 a month client, and you take them to, Ruth Chris for a steak because you're like, hey, listen, you're $10,000 a month. That's not that big a deal. I eat at Ruth Chris every day. I'll take you out to dinner. Well, if the proper conditions are met, you can actually write that entire meal off. Again, if the proper conditions are met. To get those specifications, you definitely want to consult with your tax advisor. And they'll tell you the specifications of what conditions you need to meet in order to do so. Now, yes, I do hold my PTIN, Prepared Tax Identification Number. So I happen to know what those specifications are. However, I am not an accountant, so I do not give accounting or tax advice. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is for informational and educational purposes only. Please do not construe this as financial, tax, legal, or professional advice. For specifics on your situation, you can gladly schedule a consult with myself or a financial, tax, or legal professional that's local to you. So you can actually write off certain startup costs, charitable contributions, and even client gifts. So I want to get to, let's see how many pages are here. Okay, well, there's only a few pages. So this is fairly, like I said, it's going to be quick. So client gifts, they say up to $25 per client. As far as I remember, it used to be $50, but I'm going to go with the more conservative $25 per client. Okay. Just because it's safer, and you'd rather underpromise and overdeliver than overpromise and underdeliver. So now let's look at COGS, or costs of goods and services, or costs of goods sold. So manufacturing costs, direct labor costs, and shipping costs. Again, there's going to be, certain conditions that need to be met there. Now, inventory is literally just, leftover inventory, right? So you don't want to just think, oh, well, I bought $1 million worth of stuff. No, generally the way that's done is you'll see it similar to like a retail store. So when a retail store, sells a Louis Vuitton belt for, $500, and then nobody buys it throughout the season, and then it goes on clearance, and instead of $500, they sell it for $150. Well, there's inventory there, and they technically have a loss, even though they probably bought it for like 15 cents, but still. Storage costs. So if you have an overage of inventory, you may be able to possibly write that off. What's going on? I'm listening. Again, you definitely want to make sure to consult with your tax advisor for the specifics. So banking, again, these are all possible, and certain conditions need to be met. But you can possibly write off the monthly service charges from your bank accounts. Now, again, these are likely going to be business bank accounts, and business bank accounts will have specific minimums that you need to maintain to avoid specific fees. Payment processor fees, ACH fees, and account setup fees. Again, these are going to be with business bank accounts, not personal bank accounts, not custodial bank accounts, specifically business bank accounts. And then that will be that difference. And so again, yes, Quadjay, the 1099 contractor will definitely, all this can be applied to a 1099 contractor, because as a 1099 contractor, you are self-employed. So you are technically a business, but your business is only yourself. So you actually own your job, right? So the reason that an LLC exists is because it's a disregarded entity, right? But guess what? As an LLC, you still add the income from the LLC onto your personal tax return. So, it's not six and one half dozen in the other. So let's look at advertising. So logo design and branding, social media templates, company signage, and business cards. So business cards and company signage, I'm definitely familiar with being able to write off. Now, again, because those are in the course of doing business and you have to get yourself out there. I should have written off that doggone ad space and them. Woo! There's so much stuff I'm thinking about that I didn't write off, that I should have written off, because I forgot that I paid. Well, you know what happens? So pause. A great, hold on. Let me go in solo mode for this. A very, 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 very important thing to understand is you want to not commingle funds. So if you have a bank account, even if it's a personal bank account, open a second personal bank account. That second personal bank account will be the one that you spend all your business stuff with. Okay? Because otherwise stuff gets convoluted and then you're like, oh, wait, where's this fee? Where's that fee? Separate your bank accounts. Okay? So moving on. Paid online ads. Again, if you're paying for social media ads, that's just like TV advertisement. And again, those are things that you kind of are pretty much almost guaranteed to be able to write off. I would again say to consult with your tax advisor, however. Printed flyers, very similar to business cards and company signage. Purchased ad space. So prime example, 2 years ago, I actually purchased, and I believe it's still up there, a billboard in my city. And so it's a digital billboard and it's on the side of a bank. And so you see my face, and I've had people, I haven't gotten any business from it yet, but I have people who are like, who know me and my family, and they're like, hey, that's Alonzo. I remember when he was a little kid and now he's on a billboard. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, I'm on a billboard. Come do some business. But, things like that are going to happen. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So you also have sponsoring an event. So this is where you'll see those people who, Grant Cardone, what's the other? Stormy Wellington. I'm holding the B10XB conference, and I'm going now. Generally, K Business Podcast is having a conference in Atlanta. He's coming out of pocket for that. Well, guess what? That's likely going to be a tax write-off. I would again consult with my tax advisor, but if you're sponsoring an event, you're paying for the event, right? Like you see State Farm or New York Life or Prudential. Prudential pays for people to be on this TV show called $1 Million Listings, right? You'll see people, pay to get their name advertised on the side of a building. That's, or, sponsoring an event. Again, Grant Cardone, hey, come to my event. Well, if he doesn't charge people for coming to the event and he just, let's say he just has, hey, I'm having a drink mixer and I'm going to pay and everybody can come and drink and it's, it's in the name of my company. You can definitely pretty much write that off. Insurance. Oh, you guys didn't know insurance was a write-off. Well, workers' comp insurance can be a write-off. Professional and general liability insurance can be a write-off. For those in the medical field, malpractice insurance can be a write-off. For those who are self-employed, like barbers and beauticians and Quad, I don't know if like you're in your blue collar business, if it's like a mechanic or things like that, and they have to bring their own tools, or like a tattoo artist where they have to bring their own tools. Well, renter's insurance does not only apply to your home. You can actually use renter's insurance for that business and for the articles that you use in that business. So let's say you leave and somebody comes and robs it or it burns down, you'll actually be protected, and it may be a write-off. Cyber liability insurance and employee health insurance. Now, what's not included in there also is, again, under certain circumstances, life insurance. Now, again, this is under certain circumstances. For specifics, you can schedule a consult with myself or another financial professional. Hopefully they know what I know. And, go from there. Before I continue, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying that content, make sure you hit the like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So as we proceed to give you what you need. So again, education with an asterisk because it must be tailored to your industry. Conferences, webinars, and trainings. So again, if I do that webinar and training, it's plausible that I can write it off. Industry publications. So for example, if you pay for a magazine, like there's a magazine in my field called Financial Advisor Magazine, FA Mag. I may be able to write that off my monthly subscription. If you're in real estate, there's a beautiful publication called The Real Deal. And that is, again, a publication in industry specific that you likely will be able to write off. I just started renting Sprinter vans and cargo vans for courier routes, moving furniture, and minor repairs. Yeah, so again, what's good, Mulatto? Respect. So again, you definitely want to check with your tax advisor because they'll probably, this is a 30,000 foot view, right? You telling me that we both don't have the time, and I don't want to have your personal information out there on the interwebs like that to ask the specific drill down questions about the specifics of your business. But just so you know, it's likely that, you may be able to write a lot of those expenses off. So again, continuing education courses. I mentioned that earlier. Like I said, I just spent $2,000 on a course, $1,000 on the books, and $1,000 on the actual test. I can write that off because it's something that I have to. Well, I don't exactly have to have the CRC designation, but it's just like an attorney who specializes. So it's something I have to have to drill down and specialize in my profession, to set myself apart from other financial advisors. What makes me different from the guy at Charles Schwab? What makes me different from the guy at Goldman Sachs? What makes me different from the guy at Edward Jones? What makes me different from the guy at Morgan Stanley? Other than the fact that they're at these ginormous companies and they're beholden to the companies, and I, as an independent broker, work for you, the client. But still in all, what separates me from Joe Blow down the block, who's an independent advisor? Okay, so technology, software and licenses, cell phones, tablets, laptops and computers, and Wi-Fi routers. Again, very specific situations, and you have to have very specific conditions met to be able to write off a lot of these things. Even in a from-home business. Miss Queen, what's good? I think you were there at the Brunch and Wealth this afternoon. Hopefully you got some value. I know TJ went for quite a while, but that woman's a wealth of knowledge. So again, some of these things are very specific to a certain field of business, And then even some of these things you can use to write off on a home-based business. For example, when we were talking here about rents, where's it at? So like rent expenses. So you can actually write a portion, I thought that was you, a portion of the rent that you pay to, or you can write part of that off in your home as a home-based business. Okay, there's certain calculations, very specific, that are able to be met. Again, just like with writing off insurance, not just health insurance, but under certain circumstances that are very specific, life insurance can actually be added into something that can be written off. Again, this is from the perspective of a business owner. This is not something that you're doing on your own and you're going to write off your own life insurance on your own life. This has to be through the perspective or through the lens of a business. Okay? So now let's look here. Business travel. Again, very specific, and it must be for a business purpose and away from your tax home. So, airline tickets, lodging costs, rental car expenses, meals while traveling, obviously baggage, dry cleaning, even tips that you pay, and communication costs. So again, all of these things are going to be very, very specific depending on what business you're in, where you're traveling. Like, don't just say, hey, I'm taking a trip to Costa Rica. I'm drinking margaritas. Hey. One of the things I used to do was I would go on a trip and I'd be like, insurance. Oh, I can write that off. Guess what? The IRS was like, excuse me, sir. We're going to need detailed information about what you did. And don't just tell me you went there and said insurance. At which point I was like, I won't be doing that again. Because they definitely do not play. But all of these things are definitely in the realm of being able to be written off, because these are things that don't, or that are necessary and common during the course of your business. Okay, and again, like Miss Queen said, make sure you guys hit that like, share the stream, and support this content. Even if you're watching from the bushes, click the like. So again, I'm going to say, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. Look at that. I was only supposed to go for 30 minutes. I'm almost at an hour. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. So that's pretty much it. And this is from Mrs. Rosalind Gordon. If you want more free resources like this, you can go to her website, theggfs.com. And that's the Gordon Group Financial Services. Okay, for sure. And you can definitely check out her. She's actually soon to be part of my team. I'm calling it. Even if my principal doesn't recruit her, if I speak to her, I kind of got that swag, right? That well, I guess what it is I'm very transparent, so people are comfortable with that. I do have a few minutes left, so I'm gonna do something that I normally don't do on Friday Night Financials. I'm gonna drop the link and allow for, over the next 5 minutes or so, if a person wants to come up, feel welcome. I do need to go soon though, because I just realized someone that I like to watch is on right now. And that's my guy, Pocket Watching with JT. But because y'all rock with me so hard and I got love for y'all, y'all got love for me, I'm just hold out for a second. If I don't get any takers in a few minutes though, I will go ahead and end the stream. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Turn the camera back on. All right. Well, it looks like I currently don't have any takers to come up, which is totally fine. I completely understand that. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, one last time, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. With that being said, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute, and thanks for watching. They can come closer than close, yeah. Original they never will be. We bumping from coast to coast, yeah, yeah. Shout out to the FBA, feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. Shout out to the CIA, confident, intelligent, and assertive. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.